At 61, Johnny Depp stands at a crossroads that few celebrities ever reach. For decades, he existed as both icon and enigma, celebrated, scrutinized, adored, and condemned, often all at once. Fame gave him everything and slowly took pieces of him in return. Now, after years of public battles, silence, and personal reckoning, Depp has begun to speak in a quieter but more powerful way. This phase of his life is not about rewriting history or asking for forgiveness. It is about reclaiming authorship of his own story. His recent choices reveal a man no longer interested in playing a role crafted by Hollywood or public opinion. Instead, he is turning inward, prioritizing healing, meaning, and authenticity. What the world is witnessing is not a comeback fueled by ego, but a deliberate return to self, an evolution shaped by survival, reflection, and hard-earned peace. The weight of fame and the cost of silence. Johnny Depp's life under the spotlight came with an unrelenting pressure that few outsiders truly understand. For years, he absorbed judgments, rumors, and accusations without fully responding, believing silence was the most dignified path. That silence, however, came at a steep personal cost. As narratives about him solidified in the public imagination, he felt his true self slipping further away. Fame became less a gift and more a cage, where perception mattered more than truth. The world consumed a version of Depp that often had little to do with who he really was. Over time, this disconnect eroded his sense of identity. What once felt like success began to feel like exile. The man behind the characters grew weary of defending himself against a system that thrived on spectacle. Eventually, silence stopped being protection and became a burden he could no longer carry. The quiet disappearance, choosing survival over visibility. In 2023, Johnny Depp made a move that shocked fans and media alike, not because it was dramatic, but because it was so understated. He left Los Angeles without announcements or goodbyes and relocated to Somerset, England. For nearly a year, he vanished from the public eye entirely. No paparazzi photos surfaced, no interviews emerged, and speculation ran wild. Yet this disappearance was never about mystery or retreating into obscurity. It was an intentional act of survival. Somerset offered what Hollywood never could: anonymity, stillness, and space to breathe. In the countryside, Depp was free from the constant gaze that had defined his adult life. He later described this period not as hiding, but as healing. Removed from expectations and noise, he could finally confront years of accumulated pain and begin the slow work of rebuilding himself. Painting as therapy, reclaiming emotion. Through art has always been woven into Johnny Depp's life, but after the storms of recent years, painting became something deeper, an emotional lifeline. In Somerset, away from cameras and critics, he turned inward and began translating his inner world onto canvas. This was not art designed to impress or sell, but art born from necessity. His 2024 collection, A Bunch of Stuff, revealed a side of Depp that startled many viewers. The works were dark, surreal, and emotionally charged, reflecting fragmentation, grief, and resilience. These paintings were less about aesthetics and more about confession. Each piece carried traces of betrayal, loss, and self-examination. Through painting, Depp found a way to process emotions that words had failed to contain. The act of creation allowed him to reconnect with parts of himself long buried beneath fame and public judgment. Music returns, healing through sound and presence. Long before film roles defined him, music was Johnny Depp's first love. In his return to music, particularly with the Hollywood vampires alongside Alice Cooper and Joe Perry, there was a noticeable shift. This was not the reckless, adrenaline-fueled performance of earlier years. Instead, Depp approached music with intention and humility. On stage, he appeared grounded and present, using sound as a form of release rather than validation. His performance of David Bowie's Heroes resonated deeply with audiences, not as a tribute, but as a personal statement of endurance. His voice, softer and weathered, carried the weight of lived experience. Music became a safe space where he could exist without explanation. It wasn't about applause or legacy. It was about survival, connection, and the quiet joy of doing something purely for the soul. Sobriety and stillness. A private turning point. One of the most transformative choices Johnny Depp made occurred away from headlines and fanfare. In late 2022, he quietly chose sobriety, not as a public declaration, but as a personal commitment. This decision marked a profound shift in how he related to himself and the world. Without the chaos that once defined his lifestyle, he embraced routine and stillness. Locals in Somerset began noticing subtle changes. Morning, walks, visits to the library he supported, afternoons spent reading or painting in his garden. His physical appearance reflected this internal transformation: clearer eyes, a calmer presence, a lighter energy. Sobriety became less about abstinence and more about reclaiming agency. By removing old coping mechanisms, Depp created space for genuine healing. The silence he once feared became a source of grounding and strength. Confronting the trial. Closure without restoration. The legal battle with Amber Heard remains one of the most public and painful chapters of Johnny Depp's life. For years, allegations and courtroom drama overshadowed everything else, reducing his identity to headlines and soundbites. Hollywood distanced itself, and public opinion hardened quickly. Although the 2022 defamation trial in Virginia shifted the narrative and brought legal vindication, it did not restore what was lost. The trial closed a chapter but left emotional scars that could not be erased by verdicts. Depp has been clear that the experience changed him permanently. Trust was broken, relationships were lost, and faith in institutions eroded. Yet, within that devastation came clarity. The end of the trial allowed him to stop fighting externally and start healing internally. Closure, he learned, does not mean forgetting. It means choosing not to live there anymore. Life in Somerset. Redefining success and belonging. Post-trial life brought a fundamental shift in Johnny Depp's values. In Somerset, success no longer meant box office numbers or critical acclaim. It meant peace, routine, and human connection. Locals described him as kind, grounded, and unassuming, a man content to exist without spectacle. He embraced a slower rhythm of life, finding joy in ordinary moments once denied to him. Sunrise walks, gardening, reading, and quiet contributions to the community replaced red carpets and press tours. This lifestyle allowed him to shed the constant performance demanded by fame. Emotionally, he appeared lighter, no longer carrying the weight of past mistakes or public condemnation. Living on his own terms gave him something Hollywood never did: a sense of belonging rooted in authenticity rather than admiration. For the first time, life felt lived rather than displayed. Returning to film. Art over applause. Johnny Depp's return to cinema was never meant to be triumphant or theatrical. His appearance at the 2023 premiere of Jean du Barry marked his first major public moment since the trial, and the 7-minute standing ovation was less about celebrity and more about recognition of resilience. Yet, Depp himself approached this return with restraint. He was no longer interested in reclaiming superstardom or proving anything to the industry. Instead, he sought roles that resonated with his lived experience, stories that allowed truth rather than spectacle. His choices reflected a deeper relationship with art, one rooted in expression instead of ambition. Acting became a tool for exploration rather than escape. This quieter return signaled a man who no longer needed Hollywood's validation, only its occasional collaboration on his own terms. Outro, a life chosen, not chased. As Johnny Depp looks toward the future, certainty is no longer his goal. He is not chasing redemption, applause, or relevance. Instead, he is choosing a life shaped by intention, meaning, and freedom. Whether he continues acting, focuses on art and music, or remains in the quiet rhythms of Somerset, the direction now belongs entirely to him. His journey has been marked by loss, reinvention, and quiet strength, proving that transformation does not require reinvention for others, only honesty with oneself. For the first time in decades, Johnny Depp is not performing a role crafted by fame. He is living a life defined by authenticity, and perhaps that is the most powerful ending and beginning of all.